Deputy Gilmore.
Cancórla, no matter how the Taoiseach juggles the figures, the fact is that the numbers of people who are out of work in this country is at a record high, over 400,000. And there are huge consequences for the people who are out of work. There's the loss of confidence and self-esteem and the sense of hopelessness that there sometimes is felt by people as they can't access employment. But there are also practical consequences because they have to try and survive on the subsistence level of income that they're provided with from the social welfare system. Now, yesterday, the St Vincent de Paul Society published its pre-budget submission. Unlike government ministers and unlike some of the hardline commentators who want to inflict more pain on the poor, the St Vincent de Paul Society is in touch with people with real problems. And they report that there was a 30% increase last year in the number of people coming to them. They point out that 1 out of every 4 coming to the St Vincent de Paul in Dublin is coming to them for the first time, that they are now housing 560 homeless people per night in their facilities. They tell us that Ireland is the second dearest country in Europe for food. They tell us that we have the 3rd highest level of poverty now in Europe. And the St Vincent de Paul Society concludes that there is no moral or economic justification for cuts in social welfare or pensions. And they ask in particular that the Christmas bonus payment, which was withdrawn by the government this year to people who are on social welfare, that should be reinstated. Now, I agree with those conclusions, and the Labour Party agrees with those conclusions. And I want to ask you, Taoiseach, do you agree that there is no moral or economic justification for cutting social welfare payments and pensions, and do you agree that the Christmas bonus should be restored? Well, first of all, the Taoiseach hasn't answered the question that I asked him at all. And I don't disagree that the budgetary situation has to be stabilised. But there are choices to be made.
Hear, hear.
And one of the choices that your government appears to have already made, and I saw your Minister for Finance expressing it, is ruling out any tax increases for the super rich in this country. That's one choice. You're not applying the same principle to ruling out reducing the income of people who are at the very lowest end of the scale. We are talking here about people who are on subsistence income, who, because they cannot already survive on the subsistence income that they are being provided with to the state, they have to have recourse to charities like the St Vincent de Paul Society. These are the people who are facing the human consequences of the economic problem. And your difficulty, Taoiseach, is that you don't have any difficulty in saying, when it comes to making a choice, you are doing what is needed to protect the interests of people who are very rich in our society, while turning around and telling people who are poor that they are the people that are going to have to pay the consequences for it. You have no difficulty in coming forward with a formula to dealing with the banks, where you are paying more for the bad debts of the banks than those debts are worth. And yet you're turning around to people who are on pensions that you have taken the Christmas bonus off, people who have lost their jobs and who are trying to survive on minimum incomes, and you're turning around to them and saying, sorry, you're the people that are going to have to carry the can for it. That's unfair, that's not the way to do it, and that is the way that will divide this society in a way that might take decades for us to recover.